My name is Susan Hammond, and I'm the Executive Director of the War Legacies Project, a not-for-profit organization based in Vermont that focuses on the long-term health and environmental impacts of war. Most of my work is in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. Even in the early 1990s, you could sense the energy of the country, that it was moving beyond the war, that the young population weren't thinking about the war just like I, as a young American, wasn't thinking about the war. But you could still see here and there some of the impacts the war had. Some of the buildings, even in the early 1990s, were still pockmarked. You could see at that time some bomb craters in certain areas of the country. And then almost 10 years later, when I went back to study Vietnamese, it was completely night and day. New buildings going up everywhere. And the Vietnamese weren't talking so much about the legacies of the war, except for Agent Orange. I was told over and over again by particularly the generation of Vietnamese who were very much involved in the war, that yes, the war is over, we are now have strong relations with the United States, but we cannot forget about those hidden victims of the war, those who are suffering from the long-term impacts of Agent Orange, the children with birth defects, the families who've already lost a parent to cancer or another illness, those who are extremely poor and living in the rural areas. Those are the ones who fell through the cracks as Vietnam rapidly developed after the war. We went to Hanoi and met with a general. He had fought for the North Vietnamese Army down in the south, and his wife and their daughter. I had known their older daughter, who was living in New York, going to Columbia University. She was born before the war, but I had never met their younger daughter. And she had severe physical and developmental disabilities. And it was this sharp contrast between the one daughter born before the war and the daughter born after the war that really got me to think about how many more people are there like this in Vietnam? How many families have been affected by Agent Orange? At times, the issue of Agent Orange and its impacts in Vietnam and here on U.S. veterans can seem extremely overwhelming. But when I get to that place where I feel as if it's too daunting, that there's too much that needs to be done, I always go back to one of those families that I met. And they have not given up for their family, for their community. They have hope for their child's future.